Hello and welcome to the North Bank podcast. I'm your host, Holly, and I'm joined by Stef. Hello, Stef.
Good evening.
Good evening indeed. Well, before we get into the football part, I think it's important to acknowledge tragic news today, the passing of Alex Manninger. And it kind of stopped me in my tracks. He's only 48 and it was a tragic accident. And it just cast our minds back to 1998. And I think you'd go a long way to identifying another player who had such an amazing impact straight away. At the time, certainly, I don't know whether it's been beaten since, but he got 6 clean sheets in his first 6 games as a Premier League goalkeeper. That was a record at the time. And look, it's just a timely reminder, I guess, that there's a lot more to life than football. And that's not to diminish how we're all feeling about the title run-in and so on. But, pause for thought. At least, there is a bigger world out there, and our thoughts and wishes with his family and friends, of course. But just on that, I remember you're wearing the 98 shirt in honour of him now.
Great double.
And yeah, it was a relentless pursuit of Manchester United, and he was integral to. We wouldn't have won the double, we wouldn't have won the league if it wasn't for him. He played 7 times in that season, replacing David Seaman, who'd been injured, and 6 clean sheets, the first 6 games, including a 1-0 at Old Trafford, the Mark Overmars goal. He did actually play, I've seen conflicting numbers, but 64 times for us in one place, 34 times in another place. He played 33 times for Austria as well, and he had a hell of a game. I didn't realise that he actually spent time at Liverpool as well. And
2016.
I didn't realise that. I don't think he played.
No, he didn't. He was brought in as third choice.
Yeah. But anyway, that's horrific news today, this afternoon. The passing of Alex Manninger, a proper, Arsenal legend in that season, 1998. For someone who played so few games, what are we? Nearly 30 years later, remember it clearly. One of the family. So it's very sad to see what's happened today. Okay. Now for my questions. Topics that we will be covering in the next X number of minutes or hours, as the case may be. And I've omitted deliberately any questions about our style of play because that is going to crop up during the conversation. So I've just got 3 quite varying questions. As of right now, has Arteta been a success at Arsenal? Just for everybody listening and watching, Steph has no idea what questions I'm reading out or about to read out. So his reaction is genuine. It's in the moment. Next question. Do you think a draw on Sunday will be enough in terms of us winning the league? So not will it be enough in that game? Because yes, of course it would be, because it keeps them 6 points behind us. But do you think a draw on Sunday will be enough to see us over the line ultimately? And I've only got 3 questions today. The third question is more relevant to specifics of Sunday. Who plays across the front 3 on Sunday? And again, we're recording this on Thursday evening. Whatever chance we might have on Friday after the press conference of understanding who might be available, there's 0 chance now. And I would imagine that we won't know who's going to be available until, what time's the game? 3:30, until 3:15 on Sunday afternoon. That's when we'll realise who's available and who isn't. Or Hand of Arsenal will probably drop in some accurate team news an hour before that, because I do look out for that as my kind of pre-team news drop, if you like. So, 2 sections. Looking back at Sporting Lisbon with a clearer focus, perhaps, a bit more stats, although not many. And then a look ahead to the title decider, as I've been calling it, to annoy Steph on Sunday. How are you feeling about Sporting? We're looking back at the moment. How are you feeling about last night's result?
Great. We've made a Champions League semi-final. We've earned the right to be there.
Now, what do you think?
Well, no, I genuinely do. watching the game, I sort of hinted at it in our instant reaction that a lot of it was just scoreboard tension because it was only one goal. So I was just carrying those nerves, and we do seem a bit toothless up front. So therefore, it felt like for all the energy and front foot play that we had to begin with, once that dissipated a bit, it did feel like we might not trouble their goal too much. But turns out they didn't trouble ours a huge amount either. Both teams hit the post, if I remember rightly, at some point in the game. So yeah, fairly on as even, nip and tuck, very close. We've just got to be grateful that we did the business in the league phase, so we did get that inverted commas kind of draw, because you look at some of the games on the other side, with top teams going at each other, lots of goals, topsy-turvy. Yeah, I'm just delighted to be out of that, and we've fashioned a run to the semi-final. Also, the cold light of day gives me perspective as well, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, and I'm going to mention it again. Whatever happens from now on, okay, and I know that whatever happens could colour how we feel about things, but whatever happens, essentially, we have done better, slightly better, maybe even quite a bit better than we have done last year. We've reached the semi-finals of the Champions League again. We are properly in the title race now because we're on top with a few games to go, sort of in our hands, which is a scary thought, but fine. We went one better in the Carabao Cup, made the final, disappointing performance, but we did make that step further, and we went further in the FA Cup. This is a team that's fought on four fronts and gone a long way in all of those competitions, and so the floor where we've raised ourselves to should not be forgotten. I will feel tense. I'm going to have lots of up and downs, but I'm trying to step back and look at the bigger picture and see how healthy everything is. It's great. Might
that be why we're struggling for form now and fitness?
Well, there is absolutely an argument for that. I know Liverpool last season were fighting on all fronts, and I think, I might get this wrong, but they had the latest date at some point for when they were going for a quadruple. I can't remember if it was last season or a few seasons ago. And like you say, there is an argument that at some point you run out of gas here and there. They were able to get over the line in the title, but they didn't quite have a Man City breathing down their necks the way we've got. So it's a bit different.
I mean, as good as the Chelsea semi-finals in the League Cup were, I would have much rather we went out to Palace on penalties in the League Cup. Unless you're going to win it, go out early. Do you know what I mean? I know. With hindsight, I can Captain Hindsight here. I can say that, but I think the side of the draw in the Champions League we were on has less to do with where we finished the league, but the big advantage with finishing top was getting the home tie second, 100%. And that's where we've really benefited this season as opposed to last season, and possibly reverse the two fixtures against Sporting and you'd get a different outcome.
Yeah, I think you probably would.
So, and we earned that right. You touched on a few things there. So I did write down match stats and then decided I couldn't be bothered with most of them. But the one that I'm focusing on, 15 shots, 1 on target. You mentioned toothless in attack. XG was, what was it? Where am I? 0.64. Trossard did hit the post, which doesn't count as a shot on target, no. Madly, but the interesting statistic. Now, I did rant a little bit yesterday on the instant reaction vibe on the instant reaction. I said that I felt Trossard was really good when he came on and we got back control. I had zero stats to back that up, but then you sent through something from Billy Carpenter on BlueSky, I think it might have been, where they came on, and the Trossard and Jesus, he did talk about Jesus as well, and fair enough, Jesus did actually retain possession quite a bit. He did get involved quite a lot. He did get in some decent positions and went for goal a couple of times when he should have really cut the ball back. But anyway, that's fine, don't mind that. Basically, there was no threat from Sporting from the minute those two came on. 79 minutes they came on. So for the next 15, the final 15 minutes, zero pressure or danger from them. Apart from that shot right, the very last kick of the game, that attempt they had that went wide. And in terms of possession, from the moment Trossard and Jesus came on, Arsenal had 62% possession. And it wasn't along our back line. It was in midfield, and we created openings then. So I think that was one of the reasons why I was taking a slightly more positive takeaway from the game than you two boys, and a lot of online. Although actually there are more voices saying, well, do you know what? That wasn't as bad. And like, we're in a Champions League semi-final. Like, you know, I know it's different to celebrating the 5-1 aggregate win against Real Madrid at the same stage last season. Were you in the Bernabeu?
I was in the Bernabeu. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but I was at the Bernabeu. I'm so gutted I can't do the double and go to Atletico Madrid, but yeah, term time, won't be there.
I mean, they had 8 shots, 1 on target, and an XG lower than ours. They were pretty toothless. And that 62% possession for us in the last 15 minutes came at a time when Sporting were desperate to score a goal. Yeah. And they didn't lay a glove on us. That's impressive. That's leaning into Arsenal this season, because we have been toothless in attack. And like you said, scoreboard tension for the fans, but no real danger. No. Like, I don't want to, I'd much rather have got an early goal and the game and the tie buried, of course. But when that didn't happen, then you feared. I mean, I said the last 10 minutes before half time was certainly a nervy time, and I hadn't seen the positive 35 minutes prior to that. I just saw that. So I'm thinking, this is not good. This is just an extension of Bournemouth, but it wasn't. And it wasn't in the second half either. We've also now earned £108 million from the Champions League so far.
Wow.
That's like a Julian Alvarez size lump sum, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kvaratskhelia. Ornstein came out with a bit of an update on him. He firmly expects him to stay at PSG next season, and of course everybody likes him.
Shock.
More interestingly, he said he name-checked Anthony Gordon and someone else whose name eludes me now. Oh yeah, Bradley Barcola at PSG.
Oh, right.
Name-checked those two, but said he doesn't know how near to the top of the wish list they are. He did mention Alvarez, but this time he didn't say there's a proviso or condition that Havertz or Gyökeres is sold. And I think you Arteta cannot look at this attack and think, I'm happy.
No.
He just can't.
We know that.
So Alvarez, I'm assuming, someone will check me on this, I'm assuming he was there when Alvarez was at City.
Yeah, I don't know.
He must have been, surely. So he'll know him, is my point, and so there'll be a connection there, obviously, beyond that as well. But we've now checked off £108 million, like pretty successful season so far. On my first question then, as of right now,
yep.
Has Arteta been a success at Arsenal?
Well, I'm going to say yes, but then I'm going to have to clarify what my definition of success is. We're an Arsenal podcast. We are Arsenal season ticket holders. I go to away games as well. I've travelled all over Europe following this team. So we've been invested heavily in the deep, in the weeds for a long, long time. So we, from the inside, have seen where we've gone from and where we've gone to. And I can't look at that and see anything other than a massive success. He's made us relevant again. He's made us functional. He's made us solid. He's made us dependable. He's made us go into every season thinking we're going to compete for the title. And yet there'll be rival fans who look out and go, yeah, but trophies and all that. And like, fine, okay, but unless you really do come out of nowhere, okay, you need those other things there in place first before you get the trophies. You know, this has been a slow process. You know, if you're a club that's lucky enough to have the kind of injection of money that means you can shortcut some of these things, no naming of names, then fine. Or if you just happen to hit that rich vein of form where every single player basically is fit and available for the whole season, is at the right age and plays in exactly the best form of their lives, a la Leicester, you know, ultimately clubs have to build up to this point, and that's what we've done. And where he took us from and where he took us to, I'll always be grateful for. For me, it's a success.
I agree completely, which is why I was irritated after yesterday's game, and actually since. I can understand the disappointment and the fear, but no, bigger picture, zoom out. And look, that's not me saying if we don't win anything from this point, then there's a conversation to have in the summer. Absolutely. No issue with that whatsoever. I'm not saying for a second, if we don't win anything, I want Arteta sacked. I'm not saying I want him to stay either. I think there needs to be difficult conversations had and determinations made on both sides, and on we go. However that looks, we'll wait and see. But the fact is, we're in a Champions League semi-final. The question was, as of now, right now, we qualified for the Champions League semi-final for the second time in succession, for the first time in our history.
First time. Consecutive semi-finals. That's unbelievable.
And you know, only one team can win this tournament. Yeah. And there's not many trophies on offer. There are 4 trophies on offer each season, and you're up against the Bournemouth and the state-owned clubs like City and PSG, and then you've got Madrid and Bayern Munich, and like these clubs, PSG and Bayern Munich, who can, I don't know if Bayern Munich have this season, but I know they have done in previous seasons, have games suspended either side of Champions League games. Yep. Like, so the players are at their maximum for the European fixtures. So we're up against all of that. And here we are. I mean, we beat Atletico Madrid. What was it, 4? Was it 4-0?
4-1 in the league phase.
4-1.
And we beat Bayern 3-1.
Right, okay. I'm just, all I hear, when I hear that, I just think PSG last season, we beat that.
No. Oh, no, exactly. Yeah. And I was talking to someone today saying that as much as, you know, we did beat Atletico and Bayern in the league phase, they know they're going to probably do enough to qualify for the next round. So it's not like the games they played against us were win or bust. Whereas once you meet them in a knockout phase, it is. Yeah. And everyone will raise their game a little bit. So they will be a different prospect, sure. But we have that, hopefully, a little bit of muscle memory to maybe try and get.
No,
I just want to talk about, as disappointing as the first PSG game was last year, they caught us cold. They really played through us. I'd never seen a team attack with such verve. But we were a Donnarumma amazing performance away from maybe turning it around. We played so well in that second leg, especially early doors, that, you know, it could have been on, but...
Right. Remember that. Remember what you've just said when we start talking about City on Sunday. Oh, God. I remember that. I'm serious.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Take your own bloody advice.
I won't, but okay.
I can but try.
I
can but try. The 3 changes to the team last night from Bournemouth were at fullback, Nkapie started and Mosquera started, and who else was the other one? Eze started.
Yeah.
Having seen the whole game, Nkapie's been getting a lot of flowers today for his performance. How did you rate the 2 fullbacks and their performance? And in the absence of Calafiori, I mean, there's an argument to say who is our first choice left back. I mean, Nkapie, for me, Nkapie on Sunday would be our first choice left back anyway. Mm-hmm. Timber obviously is our first choice right back, but like in the absence of Timber, how did Mosquera do yesterday? And why do you think he chose Mosquera over White?
Well, I think he chose him for defensive security more than anything. Everyone, and whether it's our followers in our Patreon, whether it's people commenting on clips we put on TikTok, talks about how, I wish we could go back 2 or 3 years when we had White and Saka and Odegaard, because they were, bombing forward, they were taking teams on, and yeah, that was great. Yet also, you kind of get... Ben White gives with one hand and takes with the other, because he's not as defensively secure. And, he's great, and I really love Ben White, and I love his S-housery and all those sorts of things as well, but he isn't as defensively secure. He just isn't. Timber is another level as a defender in terms of high-volume touch possession. When he's got his foot on the ball, in close quarters, low centre of gravity, can just keep the ball a little bit better. Mosquera doesn't quite have that, but certainly does have that defensive security just that little bit more as well.
He's also got the pace to get him and his mates out of trouble. A couple of times we've seen that this season.
Absolutely. And Nketiah is an interesting one because, yes, on the other side, I love his dogged determinedness. And he will go forward, but he'll go forward more as a traditional, overlapping fullback. But he's very determined. And we forget, he was an invincible in Germany. He went a season unbeaten and won the league with Leverkusen. So, he's a winner over there in Germany. So has done it. There's an argument to be said. Calafiori is that kind of... freestyle, roaming maverick that also adds to our attacking line, could be something that could help ignite our forward line a little bit. But
when he came on in the cup final, he had 2 chances better. Almost straight away.
Exactly. But it just depends how you fancy starting the game. I mean, I'd be surprised if anyone really wanted to go gung-ho from the start. And just to pick up on something you mentioned as well, the Sporting at home performance yesterday was Arsenal leaning into our strengths. Gabriel, Saliba, imperious. David Raya, aside from 1 or 2 kicks that went astray, collecting things in the box, generally commanding his area. Rice trying to be everywhere. Zubamendi was the one that really stepped up. I thought he was excellent yesterday. But I'm talking about all the defensive players. Eze's the only one that really caught the eye going forward, because he was at least trying to make things happen. I thought he played half the game really well. And it's interesting. I'm going to reference, a friend of mine, Ben, he'll probably be driving our minibus to Manchester on Saturday. He says himself he's been getting a bit tetchy with those people that have been negative. So he's very much in your camp, mainly having a go at me for being so tense and nervous. And he reminded me, and he did have a really good point. So, happy to concede you're kind of right, Ben. Remember Man United, opening day of the season. How did we play? It was pretty defensive. We were trying to contain. Man United were quite good, but we were just solid. We weren't looking to go and win the game. We were certainly trying not to lose and looking to see what we could pick up. Because in games like that, those fine margins, we back ourselves to defend and then nick something here and there. We did it at Man United. We've done it away at City before, previous seasons. We had the 0-0, which we thought was a good result at the time. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. Even Sporting away. Chris said it, Control FC, professional performance. You don't need to go out and win it in the first leg and risk losing. Do what you can. We would have been happy with the 0-0, but we got the winner, come back, and then we can just sort of see it out. Maybe we do. Everyone is crying out for a brilliant, exciting, attacking performance. Maybe we should just lean into what our strengths are a little bit and just embrace that. It's got us to this point. Let's see where it can go.
Well, we'll focus on City in a minute because I've got a lot to say. Okay. Luckily, I host a podcast.
I wonder why you started this.
Because no one was listening to me. I was shouting at clouds. It was Angry Man shouts at clouds. I'm going to get the suckers somehow. We'll see. What about Trossard and Jesus yesterday then? Now you've had a bit of time. Control and actual creation of opportunity.
Well, this is the balance, isn't it? Because we've said, and other people have pointed out as well, Martinelli and Madueke, either side of Gyökeres, they're pacey wingers with a power game of a forward. Okay, what you've not got there is much technique, guile, control. Foot on the ball, take the sting out of the game, look for those passes, be a little bit canny with the play. Trossard definitely gives you that. Jesus gives you it a little bit, yeah, absolutely. But he's obviously still finding it hard to get those opportunities. I think Trossard might be a little bit more ready to go. And like we've said, Gyökeres benefits from having footballers around him who can feed him. Martinelli, we're all seeing it. He's dropping down the pecking order. He is probably an impact sub. When tired legs are starting to appear in the opposition back line, he comes to the fore. Look at his goal that he scored as an equaliser against City at our place after they low blocked us. Sorry, I'm moving on from the sporting game a little bit. But those are the way the team is sort of shaping up. And Trossard absolutely just gives you that little bit more guile.
Interesting Rice news. So he was ill in bed the day before, woke up yesterday morning, thought, do you know what, I can do this, and did it. Now, he was made captain by the players. I can imagine something happening on the training ground where he got everyone together and they knew he was ill and he rallied the troops. He Winston Churchill'd the arse out of the occasion. And they decided that he's their leader, he's their captain. And it was a better performance, and it was still, he can't have been 100%, obviously, depleted energy levels. I don't know, I think, and I didn't see, I'm really focusing on the last 15, 20 minutes yesterday because it suits me. It suits my argument. I could focus on the minute 35 to 45 and come up with a completely different conclusion. I don't know. I just sensed a return to this season's Arsenal. Not the Arsenal I want to see, but this is as you say, the Arsenal that got us to where we were. How did Eze play? Because I think his best part was like the first half hour.
Well, I'll talk about Eze in a second, but just on the Rice front, it was interesting because he did look incredibly bereft. And there was lots of videos sort of doing the rounds that his reaction at the end of the game, a lot of people are sort of questioning, well, why is he reacting like that? I think it's just pure, he's just emptied the tank.
Yeah. He was like, oh, okay. I've made it.
Because it was just about getting through.
Yeah.
It was just about getting through. Everyone would be crying out, and opposition fans are, I had it from students today at school about, Arsenal go through it, they're so boring. And it's like, don't care. Literally do not care.
Have you not heard 1-0 to the Arsenal?
Yeah. What Champions League semi-final are you in, by the way? So it was just about getting through. So I think there's far too much scrutiny on those kind of like minor body language tweaks. What's interesting for me, that when I saw those reports as well about Rice being bumped up the pecking order, because I know they have like a leadership group, don't they? And I think even Marino's part of that, Gabriel, Odegaard obviously as club captain, and Rice, Saka as well, yeah, absolutely. So there is a sort of penny for Odegaard's thoughts, but I'm assuming it's one of those situations. Look, if players are injured, then they are kind of on the periphery. They're sort of outside of these things. So Rice has probably looked around and because he's that kind of character that will step to the fore, people have probably just understood, okay, you do what you need to do. And it makes me think as well, Gabriel is essentially the player that he's like overtaken from, with Odegaard and Saka being out. And they've probably thought as well, like, Gabriel, just focus on your defending. Like, you just do what you need to do, because Rice can carry that weight of being the leader on the pitch and trying to be everywhere. And
he is the leader. He is the leader on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. And we all sort of know it.
If there's anyone berating another player, it's him.
Absolutely. Which was why I was also delighted that Zubimendi improved, because he didn't have a great game against Bournemouth. And then there were various stats about tackles won and duels and his progressive passing in the Sporting game, which was really positive. Certainly, was positive compared to the Bournemouth one. For me, though, sorry, I said I'm sort of ranting a bit, but Eze in that first 30 minutes was the standout player. Everything in an attacking sense funneled through him. Madueke had plenty of joy out on the wing, taking on his fullback as well, winning a few fouls, it should be said. But Eze was a focal point. It's almost like he was taking up a position. When we were looking to press a Sporting, it was 4-2-4 again. So Zubimendi and Rice midfield, and then Eze joined the front three to try and press high up the pitch. When Sporting went down one side or the other, maybe Martinelli drew back or maybe Madueke drew back. But it was interesting to see that Eze did stay quite high. He was interested in doing that. Still did his defensive duties, press the ball when he need to, put in tackles when he need to. But he was just looking to be positive. Not everything came off, but that's fine. You take risks, absolutely. So, he's a risky player. He was...
We need it.
Trying things on, and exactly
unpredictability,
and it confirmed even more that the idea of Havertz in that midfield role, it's not for me, not at the minute. He would left 8 maybe, but you need someone, of the Eze or Odegaard profile to hopefully sort of make things happen. Waneri, if he were around, possibly. But I thought Eze was the standout.
He hasn't started since the new manager took over. Marseille.
No, that's looking worse.
Just back to the Rice thing, I wonder, and I'm not suggesting this is a fact at all, but I have heard people question the severity of Odegaard's injury, and the fact that I'm not saying he's not injured at all. Of course he's injured. The people have been querying the severity of the injury
and whether you could play through it,
and whether you could, and the fact that it's the Norwegian manager who gives us our fitness updates on Odegaard, and so that there's a direct dialogue. So he's obviously he's notwithstanding Haaland, Odegaard is the most important player for Norway. He'll make them tick. He's the one that will feed Haaland on the pitch. So I'm thinking squad moment yesterday with Rice and him being bumped up the pecking order to captain is that everybody could see he should not be playing, but he was putting it on the line. He too is an integral part of a World Cup squad, a World Cup team in the summer. And I wonder, were words spoken and, come on, this is the most important game is the next one. Look after that and summer will take care of itself. And I just wonder, I'd love to know. Arteta did say quite cryptically, I wish the TV cameras had been here for the last 48 hours. Okay, well, tell us. You could just tell us, we're listening. What would they have captured? But he obviously didn't. And I just think something has to have happened for that to be a thing and come out. And look, Rice is the de facto club captain. He's the on-field captain. He speaks eloquently. He speaks passionately. He plays as he speaks. He's
Tony Adams.
He's the Tony Adams, but he's also the Odegaard as well.
Patrick Vieira,
okay, better comparison in the middle. Okay, let's park Sporting. Look ahead to Sunday. I've got some observations that I've picked up over the last few days, and my big thing is, let me read what Chris said about Chris is having a social life this evening. How dare he? His thoughts on Sporting, more of the same really. I think we brought so much of the past few games with us, fans and players alike, a sense of expectation and hope that we'd increase our lead with an improved performance from Bournemouth. And when it became clear we weren't going to do that, we just dug in and got the job done. Park it, move on. I'm more positive than Chris is there. Right. I'm going to steal a line from what he said about City because it's a starting point for us.
Okay.
Where is it? Okay.
Do you want me to read
I had it a second ago. I've got it. So see, essentially when I can talk. Right. It is going to take a remarkable turnaround in form and fortune for us to get anything from this game. Oh, I wish Chris was here to explain that. Dare I say, defend it. I'm like, it is going to take a remarkable turnaround in form and fortune for us to get anything in this game. We are not minnows. We're not like some League Two side visiting Barcelona at the Nou Camp. We're actually the super. We have to view this game. Let me tell you a little story.
Okay.
Quite a few years ago now, I was teaching in another part of London to where I lived. Quite a treacherous or torturous rather commute there and back. And I took the decision to write to some local schools saying, look, is there any job going? I cover maternity, whatever. It's not a problem. And the nearest school to where I live, well, actually, not quite. The nearest bar one, but like a 5-minute drive, a country lane drive, like a beautiful drive, zero traffic drive. Got back to me, like completely surprised by the reply. And they invited me in for to do a lesson, to teach a lesson, and they could observe me. So there was quite a lot on this. And I bunked off my existing school, lunchtime, doctor's appointment, to drive that torturous trip back to the local school to teach a last period on a Thursday. It was as I learned afterwards, the hardest class group in the school because the head of department was the one who had them and no one else wanted to teach them after lunch on a Thursday, so he did it. And that was the lesson. I didn't know any of that. It was near where my daughter went to school, so I could do the pick up, and it would have made my life infinitely better and gain time and money for it as well. And as I took that drive back, I was becoming increasingly nervous and sweaty palmed and anxious and apprehensive, and almost starting like the beginnings of panic attack and heart palpitations as I got closer to the new school, to the point where I pulled in and I had a harsh word with myself. And I said, look, you're seeing it. I like literally talking to myself. You're viewing this all wrong. You're good at what you do. This is an opportunity for you to shine, to show off, to demonstrate how good you are. And these things don't normally work on me, but that did. The second I felt that, it changed. I thought, no, do you know what? I am good at what I do. Like, I've done it for years and always had positive feedback and response from students, parents, staff alike. And so I did the lesson and got the job, and that was all done and dusted. And this is the same. Sunday's an opportunity. We can win the league on Sunday. We win at City. Everybody wants us to lose. Everybody is expecting us to lose. Surely Arsenal fans shouldn't be part of that latter group as well. How can we be expecting? I mean, what sort of situation are we in where 6 points clear at the top of the league, having just qualified for the Champions League semi-final, we're expecting to lose at City? Now, I know what Chris's prediction is. I've seen it written down in front of me. I can only guess what to those of you listening, I'm pointing now. I can only guess what your prediction is as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to call it out.
Okay.
We should have a superiority complex in this game. The cup final was a shock and an anomaly, and I didn't like it, and I can't explain it. And that's the little gnawing kind of voice gnawing away at the back of my mind as I'm saying all this. Last 5 games. Let me give you this.
Competition?
Last 5 games in the league, Premier League. Last 5 games.
Just in the league, okay.
Yeah, last 5 Premier. This is a Premier League game. Last 5 games in the Premier League, we've won 12 points, City 11. Last 10 games in the Premier League, we've got 20 points, City've got 21. We're level, we're par for par. So, a draw, expect a draw at the very least. Opta still have us at 87% chance of winning the league. That we dropped from 97 to 87 because of the Bournemouth game. We've lost only 8 of the last 39 games against top 6. That is better than anybody else. The last 5 games against City, we've won 3, drawn 2. Like, come on, let's start seeing ourselves as in with a fighting chance of winning the game, not getting defeated. Hang on, what else have I got here? Oh, there's something in 2020. We are only side to concede fewer. Oh, I don't know if that makes sense. City with the bookies are odds on to win. It's narrow, it's narrow. It's not like great odds, but our fundamentals are still good. We are 6 points clear. Come on, City have drawn against. They've won their last Premier League game, but the 2 Premier League games before that were draws against at home to Forest and away to West Ham. You're telling me that a 0-0 draw is beyond us on Sunday, or a win is beyond us on Sunday? If examples of games where teams have gone to bigger opponents and won, they're probably in any one weekend, you'll see countless results of smaller teams, inferior teams, going to superior teams and winning. We're not an inferior team. Amen.
Amen. Hear, hear.
So come on.
Well,
how are you feeling?
I'm going to have to offer an alternative.
You don't have to. You can agree with me.
No, and I get all that, and I'm trying to see all that, absolutely right. And looking even back at the Sporting performance and just thinking, okay, just lean into what we're good at, Very solid defensively, and able to go toe-to-toe with the best in Europe. Why not treat it the same? The reason a lot of people won't be necessarily treating it the same and thinking about it in such positive terms is because, one, it's City. It's just annoying. And there's all the history that goes along with that as well. And I know there's the current situation, and they're maybe not as in good a form over a longer period of time as people maybe think. But there is the City factor. But for me, it's also, if you look at just the Premier League, absolutely right. But the problem is people's view of the trajectory of the 2 teams will be coloured by things like the Cup final, like the FA Cup weekend, where we went out to Southampton fairly, don't get me wrong.
Poor team. As in our team
selection. Poor team selection and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Slight B team, I get all that as well. But City put 4 past Liverpool. And although it's a very poor Liverpool side, it's amazing what that does for you psychologically, because they're still going to see them as a big scalp, obviously massively. And it just, it switches a little bit of confidence in oneself. Then you go back to the last league games, and this is what will be colouring most people's view of it. We turn in a pretty turgid performance against Bournemouth and rightly lose, while City go and put 3 past, again, a malfunctioning Chelsea team.
And Chelsea had opportunities in that first half to score. At half-time, all the commentary at half-time was saying Pep will be really worried and disappointed and angry with City's performance at half-time.
I get that.
And we are not the defensive team that Chelsea are.
No.
As in our defence is a lot better than Chelsea's defence, is what I mean there.
Yeah. And there is an argument to say that actually, in some respects, it could be almost in our favour that some of that view about how our position and taking some of the pressure off us, because we should be top and we should be the ones under stress and looking to do it, but because of the couple of recent disappointing results and performances, that, like you say, there is a huge assumption that City are going to win this. A lot of the talk has been basically, well, if City beat Arsenal, if City win their game in hand,
beat Arsenal,
essentially we're back to kind of square one. And there is a lot of assumptions being made. And even I will concede that there will probably be more twists and turns. I'd love to say that if the result goes one way or the other this week, and let's say if it goes in our favour, it still might not be 100% finished, because we've not got the easiest games in the world on paper.
We've got easier games than they do
on paper.
They play Palace and Villa, who, if they get through to their respective European finals, will play shadow teams against City.
One would think, yeah, but football just doesn't work like that. And I said in the I can't remember if it was in the pre or the post sporting thing. That's why we love sport, because it is unpredictable. Okay. However, weight of history is why I'm going to be going to the Etihad very nervous. I'll be loud and proud and singing and supporting my team as much as I can when I get there. But, you know, I will be apprehensive, because we haven't won there for over a decade. We've had some very spirited draws against them, and you know, last year was absolutely crushing because we should have beaten them. We held on incredibly well for as long as we did, and only conceded right at the end. We were arguably the better team that day, and were we playing 11v11, I'm fairly confident we might have seen it through. But yeah, it's just the way, and let alone the pressure. You know, we as fans, hopefully the players aren't feeling it. They've got to do their job, and take it.
It's an opportunity for them.
It absolutely is, and that's how they should see it. And that's why it's interesting, isn't it? Because I keep again flip-flopping between what I like about Arteta's rhetoric and what I don't like. Because there is an argument where all that talk the other day about being on fire and alive to the situation. Yeah, I get it. He's trying to stir the emotions, but at the same time, there is an argument for maybe playing it cool, having some ice in the veins at this point as well, and not becoming so emotional. Yes, it's a fine balance, and I have no idea what it must be like to be in that situation, because you know, not competed in that kind of elite environment. You know, he's played in it, he's coached in it at other clubs, and now he's managing it for us. And until we do it, we'll have to kind of see.
If Leeds can go to Old Trafford and win like they did on Monday night, that's a bigger ask than us going to City and winning.
It is, but
That's
when you say like it,
Leeds.
do you mean just getting a result, or in the manner that they played it?
Well, okay, well, both. I mean, the manner in which they played. It was only when United had a player sent off that Leeds started to maybe panic a little bit, and then United got one back and they saw it through. But you know, when I'm talking about, like, there are a long list of examples of smaller teams, inferior teams, unfancied teams going to the home of the fancied, bigger, superior teams and winning. And why are we so quick to write off our own chances? Like, a one-off game, we can beat anybody, and that's almost diminishing our. It's like saying, "Oh, well, we can bring it on one day." Well, look, we've been pretty consistent. Yeah. There are issues at the moment. The League Cup final. Let's not forget, we were pants. We were awful, and City only had 2 shots on target.
Yeah.
So look, let's perspective as well. I know, Anyway, how do you think City will approach the game?
Well, Pep's been shifted to this, one holding midfielder. So he's essentially playing a back four of, basically centre-backs.
Nico Riley's a doubt. He went off with a hamstring injury. It'd be good if he wasn't playing.
Yeah, because he's banging form. He scored as many goals as Gyökeres since like February or something like that. I read a stat earlier, so that's interesting. So yeah, they're going to sort of approach it in that way, that the idea is that the centre-backs kind of hold fort with Rodri in front doing what Rodri does, although be it maybe not at the level he did a couple of years ago.
And the rat in front of him.
And then the rest, it's very attacking, and it's going to be a hard thing to deal with. Doku's in very good form. Bernardo Silva's in very good form, and gets away with murder. Semenyo has hit the ground running as a January signing, where they were able to spend 100 million and not really worry about it at that point. And Haaland is still the most prolific striker in the world, goals per game ratio and all that kind of stuff. So they're just incredibly dangerous. I don't know if they're going to do anything different. Early in the season, when they came to ours and ended up defending, Guardiola did say that essentially we made them play that way because of our intensity. Now, it feels like we've dropped some of that intensity because of fatigue kicking in, et cetera, et cetera. And they're at home, so it's unlikely that that's going to happen. So we should feel no shame if essentially we go with a little bit more caution and play to our strengths and look to defend and see what we can do. Yeah, so, I just don't see them doing anything different. It will be that kind of back four, Rodri in front, and then an attacking five.
Do you think a draw will be enough for us?
Yes.
Ultimately.
Because
do you think we'll win the league? If we get a draw on Sunday, we'll win the league.
I'm not gonna fully commit to that. But yeah, a draw is way more damaging to them than it is us. So I see it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
They have to win.
They need to win. So you described an away tie in the Champions League as a first leg. And that's what it's like for us.
Yeah.
Let me read what Chris has said about it, either side of the little bit I took out of context. City, such a shame we're not playing them with a fit squad, even though supposedly fit, look whacked or are simply out of form, but it is what it is. Arteta can talk the talk, but it is going to take a remarkable turnaround in form and fortune for us to get anything from this game. The pressure is on both teams in this game. For City, a must win. For us, a must not lose.
Yeah.
So I agree with either side of what he said that I picked out. Makes sense. I cannot access that negativity, that mindset. I don't think it's right. I think it's fair.
But I think it's just coloured by Bournemouth. Everyone's been spooked by the Bournemouth game, let alone the Southampton game, although it was a very different side, and the cup final. It's recency bias. Let alone the fact you add in the number of players that are missing that we know could be, pivotal to making a difference. Saka, Odegaard, Marino, although Marino's been gone a long time, so we've obviously had to manage without him. And if we could go back and have a Premier League game straight after the Everton game when we'd won and they dropped points, boy, could that have looked different. Oh, I'd love to have known. But we didn't. We had a Carabao Cup final, international break, FA Cup. It was ridiculous. So that's where the momentum feels like it's spluttered. Yeah, you look back over time, what was it, 10 games, 20 points to 21? It's nip and tuck. It's neither here nor there. They're not making enough ground and we're doing just enough to keep ahead. So, yeah, maybe that's just what we got to keep doing.
I like to defer to Opta. 87% chance of winning the title.
Okay.
I don't know how they work that out. Is it
not a clue?
10,000 simulations now, however it goes. I think it's because of the other games that City have.
Possibly, yeah.
Brentford and Everton chasing European places.
Mm-hmm.
Burnley away at the weekend. They've got obviously the FA Cup semi-final.
So games will get moved, yeah.
So another catch-up game.
We'll see.
Right. Okay. Team selection. Now, before we go for our team selections, James Benge put out this mad stat. I've called it a mad stat. This season at Premier League, we've averaged open play XG of 1.04. When Martinelli and Gyökeres share the pitch, that drops to 0.29. Drops even further when Madueke's on.
It's not good.
No. So let's break it down area of pitch by area of pitch. Name your back five. Well, Raya in goal, obviously. Name your back four.
I've gone with Mosquera, Saliba, Gabriel, Incapia.
So has Chris, and so have I.
Wow.
So we're in agreement there.
Are we just? Is Ben White's a little bit vulnerable? Is that it?
What did Mosquera do to warrant benching against Sporting?
Nothing.
Exactly. So, right, ain't broke. Don't fix it. Midfield three then.
I've got Eze, Zubamendi, Rice.
So has Chris. So have I.
Yeah.
Now,
Interesting, that, isn't it?
yeah. Chris has gone for a front three of Martinelli, Gyökeres and Trossard. So I'm assuming Martinelli on the right in the absence. I think we're all assuming that Madueke's injured. I'm not sure he is.
I'm not sure he is.
No, but Saka, at most, Saka will be on the bench, and I think he might even be put on the bench more as a boost or a fillip, perhaps.
Yeah.
He has got, you talked about the guile. There is Eze and Trossard there with Gyökeres and Martinelli, so there's a nice balance with that. And yeah, who's your front three?
Madueke, Gyökeres, Trossard.
That's mad, right? Because I haven't got any of those front three.
Really?
Yes, I've gone Galaxy Brain.
Oh, God.
I've gone Havertz up front.
Of course you have. I think I can guess who's on the right for you.
Who's on the right?
Max Dowman.
No.
What?
I'll tell you who's on the left. I've gone with Martinelli on the left. I'm assuming Madueke. I'm actually assuming that it wouldn't surprise me for Ødegaard to start the game, by the way. I think he may have been held back Sporting game to start this game. I just have a feeling. I don't know why. My spidey senses, perhaps. But I would not have a problem with Trossard. But I loved what Trossard did when he came on against Sporting. So I don't mind him on the bench. I don't mind if Trossard starts. But I wanted Martinelli because of his pace and his directness. Because Havertz, there could be an interchanging there between Havertz and Martinelli with Eze behind them. Okay. And Capie playing at left back, not Calafiori. If Calafiori is playing, then maybe throws a different dynamic there. So who have I gone for on the right?
I can't even think. Is it like Gabriel
Jesus?
Really?
Yeah. Back at City, the narrative writes itself. No. I liked his 20-minute cameo against Sporting. I liked it. I thought it was good. It's the best I'd seen him perform. And that Billy Carpenter graphic where we had absolute total control from the minute himself and Trossard came on against a team who were desperate to score a goal. I just think he's so unpredictable and maverick. And if he's playing well, look, when he came on against City in the cup final, he was as useful as a chocolate teapot. But I don't know. I just think do something that Guardiola won't anticipate, and that how do you play against? And he used to play on the right hand side a lot, so he's got that in his arsenal. So I've gone for Jesus, Havertz, and Martinelli. It does mean that Trossard, Gyökeres, Madueke on the bench. I think Ødegaard will be on the bench as well.
Maybe Saka.
I don't think Saka will be.
Dowman.
Oh, Dowman definitely on the bench, yeah. So I just think it gives us a stronger bench as well. And defensively, it's sound. Like, Hincapié, Gabriel Saliba, Mosquera, Raya behind them, Zubimendi and Rice there. That's defensively sound. Havertz can drop back into midfield if needs be. Martinelli can. We've still got the threat of the ball over the top. We've still got the dynamism of Martinelli dragging them back. Gyökeres on against tiring defenders. He came on against... Who did he come on against and score? Southampton. He came on off the bench and scored against Southampton from a cutback from Havertz, was really good. So he has recent muscle memory of coming off the bench and delivering what could have been a big moment. It turned out not to be so big because we were crap at the back that day. So that's my... What do you think of my selection?
I can see a world in which Havertz is chosen as the centre forward. I don't see Jesus starting. I think that's the slight galaxy brain bit. Although the problem will be is if Madueke is injured and can't start. Because then he's got a major decision. Do you play a 16-year-old Max Dowman, or revert to someone like Gabriel Jesus, or move Martinelli across, or move Trossard across.
I'm going to throw something else in.
Go on then.
Why did Jesus play so well when he came on? I think Arteta already told him he's starting against City.
You just didn't. That's just conjecture. You got nothing to base that on.
Sorry, and
he did so well,
and the rest of us do.
He was playing in a Champions League quarter-final, and they wanted to sit out and get.
Came
to
on
the
in a League
semi-final.
Cup final and didn't do anything.
Yeah, it was crap in the League Cup.
Yeah,
final.
well, exactly. So come on, he came on and did well in the previous game. It's like, I mean, that would be a hell of a vote of confidence, wouldn't it?
Yes, and it would be majorly used as a stick to beat him with if it didn't work.
But no one would know.
What?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it didn't work, I suppose I see what you mean. Would you use it as a stick to beat him with if Saka and Madueke are injured, and I'm not convinced Madueke is injured, but he's been pretty poor. Would you? How would you feel if you saw that?
No, not really, because of the. Yeah, I get what you mean.
A Saka would start. Like, he was not going to play instead of Saka if Saka's fit.
No,
like,
exactly.
I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm saying with where we are right now. Remember, I've been banging on about doing something different because what we're doing, like definition of insanity and so on. And so what I wanted initially was one of Rice and Zubimendi to be dropped. Zubimendi got man of the match against Sporting. Great. So, okay, I'll look, if we have Zubimendi from the first half of the season, then I want him and Rice playing together. Of course I do. I don't want the Zubimendi that's been playing the second half of the season. But man of the match against Sporting, got to be great for his confidence. Again, how much of that was a consequence of whatever went on the training ground with regards to Rice yesterday during the day? Another, I don't know, hint that something did was Zubimendi's performance. Because I missed. Did you see it? On Saturday against Bournemouth, I missed it completely. There was a moment in the game, and I have no idea because I didn't watch this game back, where the players were consoling Zubimendi.
Yeah, this is what I said. Yeah.
So why were they consoling him?
I couldn't really tell because we seemed to have like a corner or a free kick in an attacking sense, but something was clearly going on with Zubimendi, like upset by.
So he's gone from that to man of the match in a quarter final of the Champions League. Right, he starts. Okay, so I'm holding my hand up. Rice and Zubimendi would definitely start, and I want them to start, provided the Rice is recovered and his energy levels are okay again. So what else can you do that's different? I do not want to see a front three of Martinelli, Gyökeres and Madueke.
No, ideally I wouldn't either.
Right, so let's get... I mean, Gyökeres had 14 touches in the game against... Like, let's get Havertz on there. As a striker, much better. And he's got that defensive bow... Arrow, what's it? Bow to his arrow. No, what is it? String to his bow. We've been going too long now. I'm mixing whatever those metaphors are. But he's got that link up and intricacy about his game also, and the subtlety about his game. He's also a threat in either, not threat, but a presence in either box as well. Even though he should have scored against Bournemouth from that corner, but yeah. I'd still want him on the end of the next corner. You know, I'd back him to score that. And he's a backlog of important goals. I mean, his goal has got us into the semi-final of the Champions League. His goal won the Champions League. So he's got that in his locker. We know that. And again, a bit more pace off the bench as well, with a bit of guile in Trossard and Dowman. And Ødegaard, I'm convinced Ødegaard will be on the bench. I don't know. I've convinced myself I'm a genius, so... I reserve the right to completely
delete this episode.
Yeah. This never happened. Jesus starts, we lose 5-0. I'm like, okay. Back to my under fives coaching.
Love
it. What else have we got? Nothing. I've taken up all my notes. You got anything to...
No.
Oh, we haven't done scores.
We haven't done scores.
Chris?
Yeah.
Do you want Chris's?
I know Chris's. I saw it earlier when he sent it through.
Right. So Chris, definitely not positive Chris. He's got City winning 2-0 with an apology.
Yeah.
Steph, have I made any impact on your prediction at all?
Well, it's interesting because yesterday when we did the instant reaction, I was a bag of nerves and just all the adrenaline had gone and I was just wrung out completely. And Chris was like giddy, happy, just delighted to be in that semi-final. And then he goes and predicts that we'll lose 2-0 to Man City in the next game. Clearly, hangover from Bournemouth and all those sorts of things that we've already been over. I've got City winning 1-0. Low scoring game. Tight.
Okay, so I take this opportunity to apologise to all our listeners.
I am sorry.
And viewers. I have got us winning 2-1.
Okay.
And I've revised that down, by the way.
Fuck. I nearly swore then. Have you really?
I was so convinced by my own argument.
Well, I'll let you into a secret then. I've revised mine down as well. From a really bad defeat to a very close defeat.
I mean, to be fair, it does matter the nature of the defeat because of goal difference. Because a defeat for us against City puts us on on same points if City win against Palace, which you think they might do, and we've got 3 goals better difference. So 1-0 brings that down to 1. So any victory against Palace in their game in hand puts them top. So it will be, and I must admit, if us and City are going for goals scored, there could be a playoff.
Right. So I read this article as well.
Yeah.
There's an outside chance, very slim chance. What is it? So same points, same goal difference.
What I didn't realise
head-to-head record.
It goes. Yeah, I didn't know this. It's points first.
Yep.
Then it's goal difference. Yep. Then it's goals scored.
Yep.
And all these are very, very close at the moment between the two. And then it's better on head-to-head.
And if they're both draws, there is no better head-to-head.
Well, if it has to be 1-1 because then it goes on away goals.
Ah,
if it's 2-2, we win.
Okay. So we need a 2-2. Oh God.
If it's 2-2 and
like
goal difference and points are the same, we win.
Yeah. Imagine a playoff game.
I would love to win the league
by a playoff.
No, Jesus, no.
I'm just trying to think of considering how nervous I am for a game that's on Sunday and it's just a league game with another, 5 to play.
Five to go for us.
Imagine a playoff. One game, winner takes all. Oh my God. I mean, for the league, I can understand it for a cup competition where you've played so few games, but you play 38 games and then it comes down to one play. Oh no. This is what they do in rugby though. In rugby, basically the top 4 teams go into
I hate that.
No, so the team that finished 4th could win the whole thing. It
doesn't make sense. That's just to maintain interest. I'm not interested in other people's interest. No, absolutely not. No, I was saying that I would love to win the league ultimately, not at the time. A bit like the FA Cup final against United in Cardiff, winning on penalties with the last kick of Patrick Vieira's career and Arsenal career. That was the perfect way to win that game. My God, it was a nightmare living it in the moment, as this scenario would be as well. But to win, if we drew 2-2 at City and it was that 2-2, so points the same, goal difference the same, goals scored the same, and we won it because we scored an extra goal at their place to what they scored at our place.
Bloody fun.
I mean, it would be hilarious. It would, but only after it happened. The process of it.
Getting to that point.
I mean, I'm not sure I'd survive it. But
the permutation. Could you imagine the last day, just following goals scored and all that? Oh my God.
Well, I thought I was going to be able to get to Palace away, but it's on 60 plus credits, so I'm on 54. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it. If it drops down to 55, I might have an outside chance. There's a game before that I might have a ticket for that I've not registered yet. Yeah. But anyway. You getting a ticket for Palace away?
Yeah, should be.
Cool.
I can't wait.
That's all right.
I'm booked in for all of them. The only one I can't do is Atletico. I even had so Dave, who I went to Lisbon with, was messaging me today saying, so I've had to think about our route to Budapest. I'm like, whoa. Oh my God. We're getting ahead of ourselves. And yet, because of the travel, we might need to actually put something vaguely in place because apparently there are no hotels available in Budapest, according to his research.
But what happens is other clubs fans have booked those
And drop
hotels,
out, yeah.
and they'll drop out, but the price will quadruple.
Yeah, great.
Because the need,
Supply and
demand, and all
demand.
that. Okay, right.
I'm a
Listen,
socialist.
I'm raring to go. It's an opportunity. I'm thinking I'm going to pop into one of the pubs around the ground and watch the game there. I'm that confident. I want to be with my brethren. I want to be with my fellow Gooners, so the celebrations can be long and mighty when we go 9 points clear. I'm clinging to that. You and Chris can have your defeats.
Hey, look, the prediction.
Sleep well at night.
A prediction. I'll be there in the away end, singing loud and proud, cheering on the Arsenal, and I'll feel a lot more better for being there rather than watching on telly. I know that for sure.
Yeah, true.
It will be
right.
Vociferous support, I'm sure.
Anything else to add, finally?
No, all good.
Great. Okay, cheers the chat. Cheers for listening. Cheers for watching, everybody. Have a great few days. We will be back for an instant reaction at the final whistle on Sunday, come what may. Until then, have a good one. Cheerio. Bye-bye.
See ya.
The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on your socials at North Bank Pod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by the Podcast Company.